It's a feeling we all know. That subtle guilt that creeps in when you delay something important.
Yeah, and we tell ourselves, if I just had more discipline, right, more willpower.
Exactly. We always feel like we are the problem.
And that narrative that it's all some kind of personal failure is just so damaging. I mean, if we boil it all down, procrastination is really just choosing to delay a better future.
And the biggest trap is we look at our outcomes right now, our bank account, our health,
And we judge our current position.
which is, I think, a huge psychological misstep. We're so focused on the wish for tomorrow.
Hmm.
But what the source material from James Clear shows is that our current outcomes, they aren't about tomorrow at all.
No, they're a lagging measure.
A lagging measure of the habits from, what, the last 6 months, the last year.
That's the core realization right there. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your skill set is just a lagging measure of your learning habits.
So the mission for this deep dive is to sort of offer you some relief and a real roadmap.
The problem isn't you. It's not a flaw in your character. The problem is your system. We're going to shift your focus completely from the results, the goals, to the actual processes, the systems.
Because if you fix the inputs, right, the daily habits,
Yeah.
the outputs are just going to correct themselves over time.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Let's build this foundation, starting with what we even mean by a habit.
Right. Because we tend to think of habits as these, automatic, mindless things, tying your shoes, stirring your coffee.
Sure.
But the focus here is on the intentional, consistent routine. The daily writing, the meditation, the metric that really matters is just frequency.
And this is where the math becomes, well, it's kind of undeniable. We're talking about the impact of getting just 1% better every single day.
Yeah, and we dismiss it. We dismiss that 1% because it looks totally invisible today.
It's completely non-dramatic. You feel nothing after day one.
But let's look at the compounding result. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you end up, it's a staggering number, 37.78 times better.
Wow. And the opposite is also true.
Oh, it's terrifyingly true. If you get 1% worse every day, you drive yourself almost all the way down to zero, to 0.03 to be exact.
So time, in this model, it's not neutral. It's an amplifier.
It magnifies whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits, well, they make time your enemy. You're just digging the hole deeper every day.
This is why the focus has to be on trajectory over position.
Exactly. People get so frustrated when their position, the number on the scale, the dollars in their account doesn't match what they expect.
But the key is just mastering those small daily actions. You have to focus on the direction. Am I 1% better or 1% worse today?
Right.
But here's the challenge then for you, the listener. If it takes a whole year to see that, 37x return, how do you stay motivated for that tiny, insignificant 1% choice today?
Yeah.
When you see nothing.
That gap between the action and the result, that's what he calls the valley of disappointment. And this is where the story of James Clear himself is so instructive. I mean, after that severe injury, getting hit in the face with a baseball bat, shattering his eye sockets.
A medically induced coma. It's an incredible story.
It is. And his progress was measured in these tiny, painful steps.
Yeah, as a 5 or 6 year arc, it started with physical therapy, just walking in a straight line.
Just walking in a straight line. And his eventual success, becoming an academic All-American, it wasn't built on some heroic sprint. It was built on realizing that small, consistent actions they accrue massive advantages over time. He had to focus on the process, not the finish line.
And that brings us right to that core idea. You fall to the level of your systems.
Not rise to the level of your goals.
It's such a powerful reframing. So if we agree trajectory is everything, how do we build the machine, the mechanism, to guarantee that trajectory stays positive?
Well, first you have to stop focusing only on the goal. That's the trap. A system is defined very simply. It's just a collection of habits.
All pointed at the same outcome. That's it. And the rule is absolute. If there's a conflict between your goal and your daily habits, your system will win. Every time. So goals are about winning once. Winning the championship.
But systems are for people who care about winning repeatedly. It's the process, how you recruit, how you practice, how you coach.
And it's striking when you think about it. At the Olympics or in, competitive job markets.
Winners and losers have the exact same goals.
Yeah, the goal isn't the differentiator at all. It's the system underneath.
Which leads to this essential shift in identity. We have to kind of invert the layers of the onion.
Instead of starting with, what do I want to achieve? You drill down to the absolute core. who do I wish to become?
Mm.
So if you want to be more financially secure, you stop obsessing over the number in your bank account.
Right. You ask, who is the type of person who is financially secure? And the answer might be, well, it's someone who tracks their expenses and saves 10% automatically.
And your whole focus shifts from a number to becoming that type of person.
And this is where the action comes in. Every single behavior, every little choice, a glass of water instead of soda, reading one page instead of scrolling social media.
It's a literal vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Yes. A single push-up doesn't give you visible muscle, but it casts immediate evidence. It's proof. You're showing yourself you are that person, not just, faking it till you make it.
Okay, so to really leverage this, we have to understand the mechanics, the habit loop, the cue, the craving.
The response and the reward. It's that four-step scientific backbone.
And what James Clear did so brilliantly was operationalize that loop into four sort of simple laws.
4 actionable laws that basically dictate all our behavior. So let's walk through that toolkit. Law 1, make it obvious. This connects right to the cue, right?
Right.
Exactly. If the cue isn't there, the behavior can't even start. This is all about environment design.
We touched on self-control earlier.
Yeah, and the research is so clear. People with high self-control aren't more disciplined. They're just tempted less frequently.
So you don't fight temptation. You design an environment that removes it.
You reduce the friction for good habits, and you increase it for bad ones.
So if I want to read more, I don't keep the book on the shelf. I leave it on my pillow in the morning.
Perfect. And if you want to stop snacking after dinner, you don't try harder. You don't buy the chips in the first place. Remove the cue entirely.
Your physical environment really does dictate your choices. Okay, so what about law 2? Make it attractive. This one's about the craving.
If you don't crave the behavior, you won't do it, especially the boring or difficult stuff.
But that's the challenge, isn't it?
Right.
What if the habit is just inherently unattractive, like doing my taxes or some boring paperwork?
That's where you use a really cool tool called temptation bundling. You pair an action you need to do with an action you want to do.
Ah, so the hard thing becomes attractive because it's linked to the reward of the fun thing.
Yes. So you only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast.
While I'm folding the laundry.
Exactly. The dopamine hit from the podcast gets bundled with the chore. The chore becomes the gateway to the fun thing. It's a brilliant little psychological trade, which is so important because, like you said, you can't rely on willpower. Which brings us to law 3, which is maybe the most practical one. Make it easy. This tackles the response, the action itself. And the core idea here is reducing what's called activation energy.
That initial friction, that's always the hardest part, just getting started.
And the tool for that is the 2-minute rule. You have to scale any habit down to something that takes 2 minutes or less.
The goal here isn't performance, is it?
No, not at all. The goal is to master the art of showing up. So read for an hour becomes read 1 paragraph, go for a 10-mile run becomes put on my running shoes.
I know some people hear that and think it feels like cheating. Like the real goal is 45 minutes, not 2.
But that's missing the point. You have to prioritize just starting over, perfecting the performance. You are casting a vote for your identity.
You should never ask, what can I do on my best day?
Because your best day is rare. You have to ask, what can I stick to even on the bad days? That 2-minute action is your floor. That's how you make sure you never miss twice.
And this law also includes habit stacking, right? Which makes it obvious and easy. After I do this current habit, I will do this new habit.
Yeah, it creates an automatic trigger. After I make my morning coffee, I will do 10 push-ups. You just eliminate that whole mental debate about when or if you should start. Okay, so we've got obvious, attractive, and easy. That leaves law 4, make it satisfying. The reward. And this is critical because so many good habits have delayed rewards. You don't get rich by saving $10 today.
So you feel no immediate payoff.
Exactly. So we need an artificial immediate reward to satisfy the brain in the moment. We need to feel successful right now.
So how do you make something abstract, like just being consistent, feel satisfying?
The most powerful tool for this is the habit tracker. It just turns it into a visible game.
Putting an X on a calendar.
Yeah.
Checking a box.
Yeah. The moment you do it, you get that little hit of satisfaction from preserving your streak. The reward isn't the future outcome. It's just not breaking the chain.
And that connects perfectly to the recovery strategy for when we inevitably fail. The rule is so simple but so powerful. Never miss twice. A single missed day is an accident. Life happens. But 2 missed days.
That's the start of a new bad habit. So if you miss a day, you pour all your energy into getting back on track the very next day. The top performers aren't flawless, they're just the ones who get back on track the fastest.
Let's go back to environment design for a second, because it really feels like the true force multiplier here. It just dictates everything.
Absolutely. And part of that environment is social. We're such social creatures. The desire to belong often completely crushes the desire to improve.
So if the people around you are, complaining all the time, your instinct is to join in, not to be the odd one out.
So the solution isn't to isolate yourself, it's self-selection. You need to join groups where your desired behavior is the normal behavior of that tribe.
If you want to be more professional, you join a peer group where everyone holds each other accountable.
We just naturally adopt the habits of the people closest to us. It's how we're wired.
And what about breaking bad habits, like too much screen time or stress eating?
The replacement option is often the kindest way to approach it. A bad habit is rarely malicious. It's just a learned, suboptimal solution to a real problem.
So if you feel stress after work and you pour a glass of wine,
The wine is solving the problem of de-stressing. It's just maybe not the best way. Your job is to spot that cue and that craving, and then substitute a better, healthier 2-minute response.
and finally, maybe the most important piece of self-awareness before you even start building a system.
Is acknowledging that life has seasons.
Yes.
Trying to force old habits into a new season, like a crazy fitness routine right after you've had a baby, it just leads to guilt and failure.
You have to pause, assess the season you're in, and recalibrate your 2-minute baseline to match your actual life.
Sometimes just not getting worse is the 1% improvement you need for that specific period.
So this whole deep dive has really given us the tools to, well, stop delaying a better future. The takeaways feel so clear. Focus on systems, not goals. Cast votes for your identity. And use the 4 laws. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And always, always master the art of just starting with that 2-minute rule. To make it all work, you need both things, right? The long-term vision, that 10-year compounding effect, and the bias for that short-term action, that vote you cast in the next hour.
And remember, you can only work maybe 10% harder, but you can work on something different that gets you 100 times the result. That's what optimizing the system is all about.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to take with you. Especially if you have a big, ambitious goal, starting a business, writing a book, you probably already have a strong work ethic, a bias for action, which is great. But the single most important habit you might need to build is reflection and review. This is the capstone. It links right back to Law 4 and the habit tracker. You have to ask yourself, in a structured way each week, am I spending any time making sure I'm working on the highest and best thing? Or are you just using your work ethic as a crutch, to avoid the hard work of figuring out the right direction?
Reflection is how you optimize your direction before you burn out on the wrong path. It's how you make sure those 1% improvements are actually leading you to the right place.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. Now go design your system and cast a vote for your best self.